In your conspiracy theories
Yes.
and like what you challenge, was there anything that you ended up going, oh, like,
Oh, good question.
that's not dumb?
Yes.
Really?
Flat
Yeah,
Earth,
Morgellons disease.
Morgellons.
Morgellons disease is a disease where people, they had things growing out of their skin, so they'd be scratching themselves. I thought it was bullshit before, but then talking to a doctor who had Morgellons, who explained to me that there's some sort of neurotoxic effect of Lyme disease, and that everyone who has Morgellons also has Lyme disease. What it is Lyme disease, there's a bunch of pathogens that come with Lyme disease.
I'll show you again. Switch it sideways like this. Let me see it better. And put my finger next to him. And this is a piece of skin. Don't move, don't move. Come on, stay still. I don't want any wind or anything affecting it. These are fibers that look like strands of cotton or something, but they're alive, and we inhale them. What they do, I don't know. But these things are alive and moving. See that? Another one here too.
It's called Morgellons disease. The origin is unknown. What's truly bizarre? The disease produces strange fibers that emerge from the skin. The symptoms are painful and even creepy. Dr. Rhonda Casey believes Morgellons is a genuine illness and takes precautions when examining Morgellons patients.
We don't know yet whether it's contagious.
Dr. Casey says all her patients exhibit the same types of lesions and scars. She says they are definitely not self-inflicted.
They all appeared to be eruptions more than scratched areas on their skin.
Dr. Casey has taken numerous fiber samples and says they're unlike anything she's ever seen.
They are not textile. They are not any known substance.
Dr. Casey was amazed by the mysterious fiber on Brian's hand and decided to have it tested. She tugs on it, but the fiber holds firm. Finally, it comes loose.
We took the whole plug of skin with it.
Dr. Casey and her colleague, Dr. Randy Wymore, take the samples to Tulsa's crime lab.
Morgellons fibers are not any known textile, cotton or rayon or nylon, not any of those.
What's more, the fibers don't burn when exposed to high heat.
Have you ever done a fiber that didn't vaporize completely other than the Morgellons fiber?
No.
Let's just have a look at them. Nice creatures. This is a German tomato that got some German rain on top of itself.
Is that real time?
This is real time, yes. Now watch the Morgellon, what he does. He loves us. He's getting excited and he's trying to get close. I don't know exactly what they react on, maybe on infrared radiation. So these are basically, it's mycelium of a certain type of fungus. And this fungus is, first, if you want to look at it, it's airborne. It's not a single fiber here and there. It is glowing under UV light. So if you take a UV lamp at night, you can see those fibers airborne. And there are billions of them. Not every night, but every now and then. You can see them fly around. And these fibers, this fungus, is infecting the human body. And with 95% or 99% of the people, nothing special happens. They're just embedded somewhere, and your biology is keeping the fungus population low in your body. They just function as a plasmonic antenna to send out a signal, but you don't get sick from it. You don't get ill. No visible symptoms. So we would guess 100% of the population in Europe is infected. It's not dangerous, as long as the body can handle these things. Some of the people cannot handle it. And then the mycelium is starting to grow within the body and starting to multiply. And at a certain point, they are extracted via the skin. And you can see that they have this ability to collect colors. You have blue Morgellons and you have red Morgellons. And nobody knows where these colors come from because they are of technical origin. It's not a natural substance. So you can see them when the skin is opening. You can see them under the microscope if you make a blood analysis. You can see that the blood is infected. And you can let them grow artificially in a petri dish. And if you look at them, you see they're a little bit more complex than a simple fungus. They have kind of organs inside. They have little red stem cells of an unknown species that are self-replicating as well. And apparently they produce other structure. This looks like a sporing body. It's like the unit where the mycelium at a certain point is forming a mushroom, a fruiting body. And then from the fruiting body you would expect the spores for the next generation, if this is a mushroom, if this is a fungus. So this seems to be the containment for the spores, because if you put this into the petri dish, you can see the next generation growing. And other things you find, now it's getting fringe, it's really getting fringe, is fragments of insect skin being extracted from a Morgellon victim. So something makes these Something from this disease is making insect parts or insects grow within the human body.
So this is basically what's going on in your cells right now. These are different fibers assembling, disassembling your cells. This is a molecular machine that walks around in your cells right now. It's called a kinesin and transports things. So for example, when things want to move around your cells, they don't just float around randomly. They actually actively moved around with little machines, little robots, nanobots that power your cells. What you see here is actually an amazing machine coming out of these little pores, which actually assembles other machines. This is like the factory floor of your cells. It's called a ribosome. It reads your RNA. RNA is, comes from the DNA, it's translated into RNA, and then it basically gets read out by these ribosomes, and they make new machines which then do other things. So there's all kinds of machines in your cells, things that rotate, things that walk, things that make other machines, things that read RNA, things that copy DNA.
You can have this.
So it's actually faster than that. It's much faster than that. So they made it kind of looking.
So this is a garbage man. That big wet sack is just cell garbage, and he's going to take it up this tube, or it is going to take it up the tube.
Yeah, there are some machines that walk from the inside of the cell to the outside of the cell to kick garbage out, and others that go from the outside of the cell to the inside cell to bring the good stuff in. So they're specialized machines. They only walk in certain directions.
This is a copier?
Yeah, that's a copier, and that little wormy thing coming out is a new protein coming out, and here's a new protein has formed, two of them linked together, and they make a new nanomachine that goes off to do its thing. Where this whole nano idea comes out, that ultimately all the work is done on the nanoscale, because actually if you look at the, talking physics speak here from thermodynamics, you actually see that if you're most efficient if you do things in very small steps. So by having your body actually functioning, by having many little machines in there that do things on a very small scale, is actually very efficient.
A swimmer the size of a bacterium would never be able to get around using flippers or the breaststroke, because at that size, the friction from the water molecules becomes a major drag. For a long time, scientists couldn't figure out how bacteria were able to swim. But eventually, they discovered the secret. The tail, or flagellum, seems to move back and forth. But viewed from another angle, it's clear that it moves in a totally different way.
Corkscrew tail. A corkscrew tail.
Brad and his team have developed corkscrew robots that mimic bacteria.
Bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella have developed these flagella that twist.
This part is the flagella?
This flagella twists through the liquid, just like a corkscrew going into a bottle of wine. So instead of propelling itself or using its inertia, it's actually kind of cutting through the fluid.
It's almost pulling itself instead of pushing itself.
It's pulling itself in a sense, like a screw going into wood or something like that. It's a completely different material interaction.
Very cool.
They use the same samarium cobalt material and magnetic fields to set them in motion.
So it's literally like drilling its way through that liquid?
Drilling its way up.
Wow.
This is the biggest one. The smallest one is only 30 microns long. That's 30 millionths of a meter, about a third the width of a human hair.
So now, just in the last few years, we've actually been able to build small things of a similar size and shape to real bacteria that swim just like they do, potentially deep inside a person's body.
The molecules are always bombarding this little thing.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to move through a storm where you get bombarded all the time, it's going to be very tough to walk through it. That's really the origin of this viscosity. But actually, the storm also contains energy. So if you're that small, what happens at nanoscale actually is that you can convert different types of energy very easily into each other. So you can actually take some of that energy, that thermal energy that always jiggles everything around, if you have some other input of chemical energy from your food, and you can turn it into motion, you can turn it into electrical energy, you can turn it into all kinds of things very easily, and that only can be possible at the nanoscale. Well, I mean, there are, first of all, there are ways to use nanoparticles to actually do change DNA, to do basically DNA therapy kind of things. For example, at Wayne State, there's people who do this kind of thing. Not on humans, of course, this is all very experimental.
What is the most probable? That Morgellons disease doesn't exist and is something imaginary, and everyone is lying. Or that Morgellons disease is alien technology designed to enslave humanity. Or that Morgellons disease has evolved by pure chance through natural processes that has been happening parallel to the scientists' research and development as the first and only fireproof life form on the planet. Or that Morgellons disease was engineered by mad scientists like him, and that it accidentally got out and spread in nature through the very same Lyme disease that they were trying to cure. Almost like with COVID-19, except I really don't think they were trying to cure that one.